everyone. Welcome to HR Tech Talks. I'm so glad to have you here with us today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Martin Luther King Day, by the way. I was thinking earlier, one of the kids was asking, what is this holiday about anyway? And so the thing I told them is a thing I'll tell you. Hopefully the peace and the determination of Dr. King will be on everyone's hearts and minds today as we're thinking about how we can do our work, how we can live our lives, and how we can have a bigger impact around us. I was actually giving a talk last week on the myth of work-life balance, and I used him as an example to say we all have the same number of hours in the week, and some people choose how they're going to use that differently than we might day to day. And so it's some encouragement that find something good, something positive you can do today. So I'm excited to be here with you. As always, go ahead and say hello if you're listening in live. Let us know where you're listening in from. If you're watching this on the replay later on, does not matter if it's a day later, a week later, does not matter to me. So glad to have you with us. Looking forward to, again, sharing some ideas with you. If you've got a question, chime in. The fun of this format, by the way, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, is if you ask a question later today or tomorrow or next week or next month, this will still queue up and let everyone know that watched the episode that there was a question. So we can come back and answer that for you or get our guest back to share with you. So today we're going to be talking to Steve Sonnenberg. He's the founder and CEO of Awardco. We're going to talk about engagement. We're going to talk about loyalty. We're going to talk about how to get people invested in the things we're doing as an organization. I know that we were kind of kidding before we started. I said, of all times, it's the right now, employers are thinking more than ever about how do we connect with our people in a meaningful way? Because for a long time, we took someone's physical proximity to the office as a connection point. And now for a lot of companies, they don't have that, or they don't have that as strongly as they once did. And so we're looking for other ways to make people feel like we see them, we appreciate them, we know the contributions they're making, and we want to acknowledge those. So again, we're going to dive into all those fun things today. One last announcement before we bring Steve on. The HR Tech Awards are underway. If you want to submit for that, it's hrtechawards.org. If you want to submit one of the companies you're using as a provider and nominate them, you can just do that at hrtechawards.org/nominate. You can put their name in there and we'll reach out to them about letting them know they've been nominated, all that fun stuff. That program's so much fun and we're already hearing a lot of buzz about it, and it's early days yet. So all that aside, let's go ahead and bring Steve on for the conversation. I'm so glad to have him with us and looking forward to a good discussion here. Steve, welcome, sir.
Hey, thanks, Ben. I appreciate joining you today. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. So before we dive into some of the fun stuff, I was teeing up for the audience. Would you take a minute and let us know a little bit more about who you are and what you do, please?
Yeah, you bet. Well, it's good to be with you. Literally, Ben, I was in the dentist chair about 10 minutes ago, so I'm a little numb right here, but it's good to be with you. I'm glad I was able to make it back. So I'm Steve Sonnenberg. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Awardco. We have what we do, we have reimagined rewards and recognition for organizations. And we've created a platform where you can bring all your recognition and incentive programs into one application. And then you can tap into our world's largest reward network. And one of the things that makes us quite unique is our direct integration with Amazon. And so you get all the hundreds of millions of items directly into your platform. So really, essentially, it becomes your marketplace for your employees to reward, recognize, and incentivize, and really make them feel appreciated and valued.
Awesome. Wonderful. Love it. Well, again, now's the time of all times to do this, right? Because we're seeing in the research, we're seeing in the data that we're collecting that employees are feeling less than appreciated in some cases. At the best, we'll say, and at worst, they've got a foot out the door. They're looking for another company to support them, hoping to find someone that actually cares about and appreciates and supports them. I'd love to hear from you. How do you define, I guess, engagement or loyalty, whatever word you want to use in here? How would you define that from the perspective of a company looking at an employee? Because there's people say, well, it's discretionary effort, or it's attachment, or it's all these things. And I'd just love to hear from you. What would be your definition of that?
Yeah, good question. I think it's shocking to me, as I've worked at some great organizations in the past, how difficult it was to feel appreciated at times. And so to me, it's all centered around recognition, making someone feel valued and appreciated. So when it comes down to engagement and you want people to give their best work, to me, it's in order for them to even do that, you need to start at making sure that they know that you care about them, that you appreciate their efforts. So I'm all about creating solutions at organizations where you're recognizing them for just being there, for their first day, their onboarding, their birthday, their annual anniversary. It's all about making them know that you care. And so that's where you need to build off of. I think for so long, there's been, one of the reasons why I founded Awardco is I just thought it was just a little archaic the way people have gone about it. And I just wanted to become more natural, more in the everyday flow of our communication tools. And so to me, it starts with appreciation and recognizing someone to make sure you can even get and engage that individual.
I love that. Just don't jump to the front and say, hey, how do we get more effort out of this person until we've stopped and let them know that we actually appreciate that the fact that they're there and they're contributing. Right. I think that's a great reminder.
Think about it. Just with your kids, I have 4 kids. And if I want them to do something, I have to first let them know that I appreciate and care about you, love you. And so I'm taking those foundational things that we know and trying to bring that into the workforce because we're all human beings.
So 4 kids over here too, by the way. So we'll have to compare notes on that one later on. Awesome. But I'm with you, right? It's always funny when I hear someone speak about engagement. One of the examples I sometimes give just to show how strange it would be if we treated people at work the same way we treat people at home. That, hey, go to your significant other, your spouse, your partner, and say, hey, I'm going to let you know a year from now what I feel about you. And one conversation, and then from the rest of the time, I'm not going to talk about that at all. We're going to act like it doesn't exist, that we have a relationship or anything else. And then once a year, I'll give you some feedback on how I feel. And I'll tell you if I appreciate you or not. And I'll tell you the things you did through that time that maybe I didn't like very much that you could fix next time. Yeah. And that's silly. And all of us know that's completely ridiculous. And yet that's happening right now at some company somewhere. That conversation once a year is happening right now somewhere. And so it's an encouragement that this can't just be a one-time thing, but it needs to be a pattern, a habit, a way that we're connecting with and engaging with people on a regular basis. Because if we try to do it once, it's not going to have the impact we're hoping for. Exactly.
No, I agree. The same thing. And that's why I mentioned it's so important to create programs for your organization just for belonging. People are leaving organizations all the time now because they just don't feel like they belong, they fit in. And so how do you fix that? You let them know you care about them, you appreciate them. And so I'm all about automating some of those programs at first. So like an onboarding program, I am like, it's so important that you recognize them and then recognize them on the 30-day, the 60-day, the 90-day. And then you make sure the manager's involved too. And that they have their own insights dashboard, their recognition, appreciation dashboard, where they see the people that roll up to them and they can identify, okay, here's my group of people. Here are the people that looks like they need a little bit more help or they're not, getting the recognition. Maybe they're just quieter. And so it's up to also the managers to look for opportunities to let the employees know that they care. So I'm all about those first level belonging programs. And that helps create the culture of recognition because, it's hard. If your company is not a company of recognition, it's kind of awkward. It's kind of like, I feel a little uncomfortable. It's like when you play the compliment game, right? Like I remember going on dates back in college and it was just to break the ice. We play the compliment game. And then as soon as people are starting to say nice things about each other, it breaks the ice and then it becomes just natural and normal. So it's so important that you start with those belonging type recognition programs. They don't have to do something extraordinary. They just have to be here. And then I'm going to recognize them and it's going to create other opportunities to recognize effort down the road.
But it's interesting because I've never heard someone put it in that way, just appreciating the belonging piece of that.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you. There are a lot of people right now that are feeling, if you're not intentionally sending them signals that they do belong, your brain is a funny thing and it starts wondering, do I really belong? Totally. Is this really the place for me? And if you're not getting some sort of inputs that reinforce the fact that, yes, you're where you should be, we appreciate you, we see you, we know what value you're bringing, and please bring that tomorrow because we need it. We see how you fit in this bigger picture. If you're not getting those kinds of signals, your brain is going to immediately start thinking, I wonder if someone else would appreciate me then.
Totally. When we went home because of COVID, back March 2020, I remember, I'm the co-founder of the company, and I remember just feeling so isolated and like, man, I felt a little dark, right? And it wasn't until I'd get some recognitions here and there from my peers. And then it wasn't until I put forth the effort and started recognizing people, even though we were distant, it really connected me. And so to me, when it comes down to it, you want to create an engaged culture and get the most out of people. That's what you have to do. And that's why I'm so passionate about Awardco, because that's the foundation. And I think so many companies are missing it. And nowadays with technologies, one of the things that I love at Awardco that we've done is we've integrated our solutions inside of communication apps like the Slack, the Teams, the Outlook, because where your employees are communicating, so should their recognition tools be. So it's more natural. So it's more front of mind. And so when I'm on Slack, I can do a simple /recognize. It brings up a little module and I can go ahead and recognize, tag values. And so that's extremely important too. Recognition works when it happens, when it's in your natural flow. I think in the past, it's just been like, you have to go to this other application or it's this, people are recognizing, but it's not being captured. People are saying thank you all the time or sending emails. But what I try to do is capture that data, give it back to the executives, the managers, so they can be aware and so they can start measuring their culture and making sure that their employees feel like there's a sense of belonging.
I want to say like 50 different things right now because all the different research that I've seen over the years is swirling through my head really quickly. One of the things we always lean on is, we're talking about that right now, when someone gets a piece of recognition or gets a piece of feedback, they are more engaged broadly, right? That research is pretty proven. But there's also been research that shows that when Steve gives someone feedback, as you were talking about, you also have a little bump in engagement as well, because you are showing, again, you're showing indicators that you are engaged, because people that don't do that kind of stuff. But there's a company that I ran across a couple of years ago that started using those activities. Ben giving feedback to his peers or giving some recognition to someone who he didn't have to give it to, but he did because he wanted to. They started using that as a signal or predictor for someone's leadership abilities, because one of the hardest things to get leaders to do, hey, you're managing a team, you're managing all the productivity and deliverables. Oh, by the way, also recognize them. And that feels like an extra thing layered on top of their job, and they just don't have time for it. And so they start looking at people who are doing this naturally as part of their job and saying, hey, they might actually be a great leader because they're leaning into this behavior and no one's asking them to. They're not being compensated for it or anything else. So there's so much data backing up the kind of things you're saying that you've seen anecdotally through your own experiences too.
Yeah, Ben, exactly right. And one of the things that I'm so excited to launch here soon is we're creating this recognition voice, this recognition number, you can call it. And it's an algorithm that's based on recognitions given, received, and a whole bunch of other things that allows you to identify, is this person, are they all in? Do they buy the company purpose? Do they understand the values? Are they recognizing on some type of cadence? Are they receiving recognition? And so there's a number that you can achieve, which is great. And then a department can have a number, a company can have that number, and that allows you to start measuring now. You know what I mean? Because I think we've recognized since we were a little kid, right? We're and we feel good, and it's just natural. Now what we're trying to do is we're trying to capture that data, and so you can, Ben, right to your point, identify those future leaders, because it comes down to truly, are they a human being that cares about people? Because if they are, they're going to be an unbelievable leader in the future.
I want to ask you a question, because I have found through my own experiences that I'm not a great leader of people. I'm great as an individual contributor and doing the tasks I do, but I'm not as great of a leader of people as I'd like to be. And one of the things that I've had other leaders show me in the past is the importance of not just giving recognition the way that, or a reward, right, or something of value to the person, not just the way that I want to give it, but the way that they want to receive it. And there's a great book I read years ago called Giftology. And that's the whole concept, is don't just give someone something that makes you smile, but give them something that makes them smile, right? And the way that they care about. Would you talk about that in this context of recognition and rewards, and how we make sure that the person's getting it in a way that makes them feel appreciated, and not just us saying, okay, I've checked that box and I've done it the way I was going to do it and move on from there? Is there a way to do that, or a way to understand how people want to receive those things?
Yeah, it's a really good point, because I think we're all different, right? We all have our own personas. You have people that love the shout outs, get me in front of the whole company, praise me, talk about me, then you got the people that are shy, that are like, you know what, that's the last thing I would want to do, is to be recognized that way. And in fact, you're going to do a disservice to me if you do that. And so I've always encouraged the manager to understand the recognition personas of your team. and how do they like to be recognized. And also within the Awardco application, we've identified that, and we've given tools to the individual to say, you know what, I want to be private. You know what I mean? So recognition, we never stop recognition. That needs to flow. But how you receive it is up to the user. And so if someone gives someone a big praise and they don't want to go on, if they have a big social, channel, then it won't go there, because that's what that person doesn't want to be celebrated that way. I know, like for Facebook, I've taken my birthday off it, because I hate all the fake, hey, I haven't talked to you for 10 years, happy birthday, check-ins. You know what I mean? It doesn't do it. In fact, I kind of get mad about it. So I just took it off. So to me, it's up to the manager to understand who's closest to the employee. How do they want to be recognized? And then we give tools within the Awardco application to help fit that as well. So we're not making a mistake. They can kind of control that as well. But you're exactly right. And what I've realized, that's from the recognition, that's from the emotion, the feel side, but also on the giving side, if you're going to give someone a reward, an actual physical product, that's why we're so big on choice. And that's why I love creating the largest award network for employers to tap into Amazon, to tap into gift cards. And one of the things that we allow organizations to do is to give choice to the employee so they can pick what they want. I was just talking to Chick-fil-A, one of our customers. We just launched one of their customer stories on our platform where we encourage our customers to share stories that has impacted your company. And one of the recognitions quotes that I just read is actually last night from one of the Chick-fil-A employees. There was someone that received something after being there 20 years, and they got a substantial amount, and they got to choose what they wanted, and they got things that were impactful. It literally brought the employee in tears, talking to their manager, just to say thank you. I got to get something that I'm an hourly employee that I would never have gotten, and I got to choose something. So choice is so important as well when it comes to recognizing someone, because if you force a gift that they don't want, it does the opposite.
Goodness. I wanted to go back to one of the things you mentioned a minute ago, if you don't mind. You talked about kind of milestones and celebrating those things. And Jenny actually posted a comment a little bit ago about how important it is to, I'll post it here so you can see it. So thinking about families, thinking about, milestones, maybe someone had a baby, right? It is their milestone of your anniversary date here at the company. Think about those kinds of things, not just you did that task, so good job for that, now go do another task. But again, like you said at the very beginning, the belonging piece, we care about you as a person in addition to just the bundle of skills that we're paying for day to day as an employee. Yeah. So I was wondering if you would touch on that a little bit, because I think that's really important too, to think about those milestone moments and reinforcing why those things are important as well.
Well, I agree exactly with Jenny. I love celebrating those moments, those milestones within their family as well. And it could be, and when we have this, we have multiple programs that we run. And then one of those is called life events. And the manager has the tools now to recognize that individual for those special milestones. And it could be getting a home, congratulations, you know what I mean? And here's we appreciate that. We support that. We're grateful for you. Keep going, cheer them on. And then they're just that much more motivated. So those life events, having a new baby, adoption, we love celebrating that with employees, and because that does create that sense of belonging when you do that. And here's what's really cool. With that, we have something called the Smart Award Network. So if you do give a monetary amount to an employee for like a new baby, right? And let's say it's $100 worth of points. You have the ability to control that those points can only be spent in a curated baby catalog of Amazon items. You can actually curate an Amazon catalog within Awardco, and you can have 100 options, but it's all geared towards supporting that recognition. And so if you give them that $100, they don't just go, buy something else. You can kind of control that experience to some degree, still give them choice, but control that experience. And so we've doubled down on the life events when it comes to rewarding as well. So I love that. That creates a sense of belonging. And to me, I always recommend you create 3 to 5 different belonging programs. We're talking about the onboarding programs, the birthday programs, the life events programs, the anniversary programs. And there's a few others I can name, but that's the foundation. That's how you begin. So automatically you're already recognizing the employee 3-4 times formally every year at the bare minimum, because so many organizations is just start at the anniversary program.
Yeah. Okay. One of the other things that I'm curious about is I've started off the episode with, people used to assume that someone shows up at the office, they're smiling, if they're engaged, they're happy, they're committed, they're loyal, they're all those things, right? We're made all those assumptions, even if it wasn't accurate. And today we can't always make those assumptions because people are remote or they're only there 1 day a week or 2 days a week, or there's all this flexibility and fluidity around that. I'm curious what your take is on how recognition fits into that picture. Is it more important? Is it just as important? It's like, again, there may be a debate here because I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out how I feel about it as I'm asking the question. I'd love to get your take on that in the more fluid nature of work we have right now. Where does this fit in that bigger picture?
Yeah, Ben, good question. I believe without a doubt that it's more important than ever right now, more than it was pre-COVID, because a lot of organizations are made up of flexible work environments now. Some people are home, some people are at the office, sometimes people are 100% at home. And so how do you connect people? It's truly through recognizing and appreciating them, letting them know that you care. And so it's more than ever. I love using communication apps like the Microsoft Teams, the Slacks. We're always constantly chatting. That's how we're connected while we're away. And so it's all about taking time out of your busy day, thinking about the people that impacted you that day, and sharing a quick recognition. And you share an authentic recognition, appreciation. You share a story. Why did that matter? Why did that impact you? You can include multiple people. And so when you do that, then one of the things that we've done at Awardco and other companies have done as well with like Microsoft Teams, we use Slack. So we have all those recognitions go into a channel, and it's a constant reminder every moment of the day, because that channel is our hottest channel right now. People are sending recognitions. And then if you're down, or if you're just like, I'm kind of feel isolated, I want to feel connected a little bit, all you got to do is go to that recognition feed and start reading real stories. And then I know there's some people that I don't know very well at Awardco. And so, but personally, because I haven't interacted with them, but I read their recognitions all the time. So that's given my level of confidence in that individual to be through the roof. I don't care where they work, because they're doing a dang good job, because I'm reading about it through their peers. So recognition is another tool for executives and managers to feel confident in their employees when they're flexible, when they're at home. And so I think it's more important than ever. And I've seen it as Awardco's growth has grown tremendously through the pandemic, because people are thinking about more than ever, because recognition is the connection to their culture.
One of the things that Norma said in the comments, I'm going to throw up here really quick, I think fits right perfectly with that. And I was going to echo what you said a minute ago. We assume that the number of times we talk to someone, we assume that that's sometimes a substitute for that authentic and very intentional praise and recognition and appreciation of them. And as she said, sometimes that we assume that, and that's wrong. We can't do that. We can't just assume that. I've talked to Steve 4 times today about those work projects, so he should know that I care about him. No, that wasn't an intentional moment where I stopped and said that when you put that budget together, you did that so well. You brought the ideas in. You did that in a way that no one else could do it. And I really appreciate that one thing that you did with such careful detail and crafting. That was really important. That doesn't cost anything for me to do that. No. And yet that person is going to wear that for a long time to come.
It really does. It really does. And so that's exactly right. And so that's a great comment. And, and that's a good recognition and a great example that you just gave there. So it's so important that you take time to do it. And one of the things that I actually do is I can schedule recognitions. So when I'm thinking about it, I don't want to hit it like in the middle of the night. I like to schedule that to drop it at 10 o'clock, or, you know what I mean? To do some of that as well. And so I'm strategic about it. But I truly block some time in my calendar to say, I pause and I say, this is my time to reflect on those that are impacting me, and I'm going to recognize them. So it's as simple as block some time off on your calendar every week to begin, and then 30 minutes, and then recognize a few people. It'll be amazing what you learn from that.
I'm thinking about, there are research studies out there that show when people are most down at work and things like that. That'd be interesting to think about, trying to hit it at some of those points when they're feeling the most down, or they're feeling the most stressed during the week, depending on maybe it's your payroll person and Thursday afternoons are always crazy for them. Like, Thursday at lunch, we're going to make sure we let them know how much we appreciate this thing about them,
Yeah.
so that it maybe mitigates some of that risk around and the stress and friction. I don't know, but that'd be kind of fun to dive into.
Oh,
So we're
totally.
getting, sorry, go ahead.
No, totally. No, I love that. And I love how people pile on recognition. So I'm a big component of making it social. That's recognition, make it visible. And then when you do say something to that payroll person, it's so awesome that you started the positive energy, and then you have your peers always jumping on, and I always say nice things, and it just builds that person up. So I'm a big component of making it social. And you can there's a lot of organizations that are nervous to go social, because they haven't done that. And yes. So one of the things, so it's important to have a platform, and we have a lot of tools to kind of help you ease into the social side. You can actually make it social and people can't comment, or people can't do emojis, or, you know what I mean? You can tailor your social experience. And then as you learn how it, dramatically impacts your organization, you can add additional visibility to it. So I love when it's social, and I love when people pile on recognitions.
That's one of the things that I've written a little about and would love to explore more, is the maturity of organizations as they go down that path. Yeah. Because at first, like you said, for some companies, especially that first step, it's weird. Yeah. I remember years, 10, 12 years ago, the big step we took, I need you to hold onto your seat for a second. The big step we took was buying this little kind of flip book with little pages that said, "Hey, I appreciate you for this." Yeah. We stick them up on our bulletin board in the office physically. Yeah. And that was, we had a debate about, do we do this? Are how's people going to feel? Are they going to appreciate this? And it ended up being a great idea. But again, we went over and over that. And after 6 months of doing it, we were 2 steps further down the road in terms of evolution and maturity and things we were way beyond that. So anyway, we're getting close on time. I want to make sure we don't skip over the chance to give people, so that you can give people a chance to learn more about where they can connect with Awardco, follow the work the team's doing, all those kind of fun things. What's the best way to do that?
The best way to do that is just go to awardco.com. And we have a lot of great resources on our site. And you can learn how you can create a balanced recognition solution for your organization. But right there, you go right on the homepage, you just go hit connect with us and fill out a simple form, and we'll contact you right away. But we at Awardco absolutely love helping organizations think of creating a well-balanced recognition solution. So I talk about belonging mostly today, creating those programs. And think of a pyramid, if you can, in 3 sections. Belonging is the foundation. Create 3 to 4 belonging programs. The next level up is your recognize program. That's your esteem area. That's where you have to do something, where you recognize based on values. You make your values come to life. Sales incentives and something you have to earn. And then your very top one is the self. That's where it's like the president's clubs, the high achieving programs, the nomination programs. But that's what we do. We look at your organization. We take you and learn about how you're currently recognizing employees, and we create a balanced recognition solution for you, utilizing modern tools and integrate with your communication channels. When you do that, you become a culture of recognition and appreciation, and you'll see the loyalty that you will develop within your employees, because that has to be earned over time. And the way you do that is by recognizing and appreciating them. That's the beginning step.
Goodness. Great way to close it out. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining us. I appreciate your insight, your passion for this as well, and for putting up with us after the dental visit. You did a wonderful job.
I'm no longer numb. At first I was numb.
You worked it out.
I'm no longer numb.
Awesome. Well done. So glad to have you with us. Thank you, sir, for sticking around.
All right. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate the time.
To everybody else out there, I hope you enjoyed the episode today. I hope you got some good ideas and insights. I know Norma was saying she enjoyed it thoroughly. Jenny, thank you so much for chiming in. It was really great to see all of y'all. Someone else, Ross, pop in on YouTube as well. So thank you all for joining, for checking out the episode. I hope you take some of these things to heart, especially right now. Think about how we can embed this culture of recognition, not just programs are good, culture is better. We talked about that as we're kind of elevating that. How do we embed this into how we act as an organization, get more mature in this area, and lead to better outcomes for all our people? So excited for what the future holds. Thank you all. We'll catch you again next week with a new episode of HR Tech Talks. I'm Ben Eubanks, your host and fellow lifelong learner, hanging out with you, learning every single week. We'll catch you again. Stay tuned.